So, in this session, what we're going to be doing is really focusing on a few tangible areas so we can have a really practical conversation for the audience. And those areas are going to be about where tech is creating real value and what that really means today, those prerequisites to roll out technology and what the role of data is in that, how to transition from pilots to scale, and also what the future of tech is very specifically here in the real estate industry. So let's begin with you, Majid. It's a pleasure to have you with us. And you've really made that deliberate shift to become a fully digital real estate capital platform. I mean, that sounds quite fancy and a little bit scary, but where does tech really sit in your business model today? And how is that helping to solve some of those problems that a lot of people in this room face?
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Right into the mic for me. That's it.
Can you get me now?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I think the biggest investment that we've done in REAP Capital happened around 5 years ago by kicking off a technology company, which has 120 engineers. We are all about solution providers. We are a different kind of investment firm. Most of the decisions happen on a really big scales. We managed around 35 billion SAR of real estate assets. We only do real estate. This is where we're good at. But to be honest, we struggled a lot with studying so much of opportunities that we get.
Okay, was that the sort of problem that you saw that you were trying to solve?
Yeah, this is the first issue that we had so many opportunities coming that we have to study them, and you have to study them right, because at the end of the day, you want to make the best investments for everyone.
Absolutely.
So we kicked off the company around 4 or 5 years ago to find the solutions for ourselves. We tried to see the market and how it's going, but we needed some kind of pre-designed AI digitalized tool.
Okay.
So we kicked off our digital investment bank platform around 3 years ago, and I'm happy to say that it is live today.
Amazing.
It's live today because of so many reasons. One of the reasons was Dr. Mohammed, who's a mastermind in AI and digital transformation. So what's the platform is all about is about making sure you make the right decisions.
Okay.
Because when we see Saudi today, the government is more efficient in terms of data compared to the private sector.
Yeah.
So when we studied the case, we were able, alhamdulillah, to extract information from 77 sources. And these 77 sources are live sources. And this is the struggle that happened with the investment managers, because they always have an old data. So you need to be up to date.
Okay.
So we kicked off 3 platforms. The first platform, which is the digital investment bank, it's more of a process-like platform, which works as the backbone of the other integrated AI tools.
Yeah.
The second tool was Contra. Contra manages the procurement and the third parties, because as an investment banker, you would have to work with so many vendors.
Amazing. And you're talking about tools. So is everything digitized, like end to end, or is there still any human-led activity?
This is the issue that we had before. It's both about automating and educating.
Yeah.
So you would still need those masterminds to come in and help within the platforms, and how to be master in different areas and different specialties in different areas, and this is how you become with the best outcome. And I'm happy to say we don't have a single opportunity that we lost money in it in the last 17 years.
Well, that's a pretty big claim and a good result. We like that. So just to finish off this part of the question set, you talked a little bit about how traditional market studies can be old even from that day they arrive. So how are you really using the integration with current up-to-date data and also AI to perhaps create better warning signals for investors?
Yeah, so we worked in 2 areas, and I think they are the most important areas. The first one is the EWS, which is the early warning signals.
Okay.
And the second thing is the covenants. Because we have real staters, and real staters, when we get the projects, and especially the mega projects, the design could take 6 months or 9 months.
Yeah.
By that time, when you start to develop the projects, you have all data. And Saudi, alhamdulillah, is moving very, very, very fast.
Indeed it is.
So the information that you have today could be irrelevant to the information you had 2 weeks ago. So we integrated with 77 sources. Some of them are real estate registry, Ministry of Justice, Sedaya, to get the up-to-date information. So the visibility studies and the valuation tools are done automatically.
Right.
And they give even indication to the investment banker. Listen, when you started the project, your return on equity was 66%. Now it's declining or increasing. Maybe you could do something different with the asset.
It sounds incredibly clever and very practical, because I think so often we hear about AI or digital tools that are kind of doing something for the sake of doing it, but you're really adding this tangible value, which I love.
I always say it, AI is not just a fancy word that you want to utilize, you know what I mean? It has so much into it, and I think my colleague here will have so much to mention.
Indeed, I mean, Christian's nodding away here, so I get the impression you're very much on the same page with this. So Christian, why don't you just tell us a little bit about Prop AI's model, and perhaps talk about the type of decisions that this Prop AI model is helping to improve?
Yeah, pleasure. So pleasure to be here, and pleasure to be among like-minded innovators. So Prop AI is a company. Our vision is to make real estate investing transparent, accessible, and autonomous in the future. You can think of us as the Bloomberg meets JLL of the future. And it's a lot about what we just heard. It's about actually building a data and intelligence infrastructure, the layer, which is the foundation of everything. At the pace the market is going today, you need to have real-time data to take real-time decisions and to continuously update your feasibility studies, your insights, your decision-making with that data, especially in this region where things are moving so fast. And so that's the intelligence layer we built. We have at the moment over 3 billion data points that are being processed across a large number of data sets. And we also have our own proprietary machine learning and AI models, which we're now exposing to agentic AI to start moving towards fully autonomous systems.
Incredible.
Now, what do? We do 3 things. We do the 3 Ds: data, decisions, and deals.
Okay.
So what we connect is these 3 topics. The first is we create transparency by creating a unified data layer, similar to what you're doing, on the entire market, and go very deep. Every transaction, every project, every developer, every plot, everything that happens in the market through pipelines that are automated and updated every day. The second thing that we do is we generate decision intelligence. Since we're seeing the entire market, we generate insights, uncover new opportunities with real-time data for informed decision making. And it's not that you only discover the opportunities, but you support the teams to quickly take an informed decision or deep dive into the topics that actually make the difference. And then the third thing we do is we actually help make the deal happen. And this is the last mile. It's a buyer brokerage that is connected with the AI model. And in this way, we're helping to not only take better decisions, but to actually take smarter decisions and grow the market. Amazing. I think there's one more thing I would say, that the 3 big problems in the real estate industry globally, and here's why. It's 3 things. The first one is that investors never find what they're looking for. Never. What they usually find is what the sellers are paying for you to see. Okay? But the properties that investors are looking for actually are in the market. And so this new technology and the ability to now finally connect agentic AI and machine learning models and data infrastructure together puts investors into the driver's seat to actually find what they're looking for. Now, the second problem in the industry is that the industry is highly inefficient because of the first reason, which means that the brokers on average are selling 0.2 to 0.5 deals per month. Highly inefficient because the network is inefficient. Now the brokers that are starting to adopt and developers adopt this kind of technology are going to make 10 times those deals. And they will enable the market to grow faster because of the speed of transaction that can actually happen. And we've seen that, and that's why we say Bloomberg, we've seen that in the 1980s in the stock market.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're doing now. Just for real estate, AI was essential to make this happen. Without AI, it's impossible in real estate.
So is that sort of your aha moment for your users? I mean, you talk about the problems that exist, and I imagine every good solution or every good product is a solution to at least one of those problems. So what is it that users get now or can see now that maybe they didn't have access to before?
We work a lot with investors that have very specific investment theses. And that can be institutional individuals, but they know that they want the property below fair market value at a certain percentage. They have a way how they look at fair market value. They want to see what is the prediction of that, and they have a cost structure of their own investment. We automate all of these things across every property in the market. 300,000 properties listed every day is being updated. And so we uncover deals that others can't uncover. And so clients are a lot of the tokenization players, a lot of family office, international investors. And we started with residential properties, but now we're doing that for land as well. So we built HPUs for land, different asset classes in seconds, which usually takes weeks. They can be updated in minutes as well.
So a huge amount of it is about visibility, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about transparency.
Yeah, absolutely.
And trusted data sources.
Well, I was going to say, because if all of these solutions rely on the data that is creating the output, you've really got to trust that data, haven't you? I mean, let's just finish with you, Christian, for a moment and then go back to Majid on this.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge in the industry, that there's more data than ever, but the data doesn't talk to each other. And I think you've solved the problem, and we've solved the problem, but it's a real huge problem because there's lots of misinformation in the market.
Yeah.
In Dubai, we worked with the government to remove fake listings and non-compliant listings using our infrastructure as well. So it's about making sure that you can access trusted data in real time and ensure that everyone else is relying on the same data sets to take the decisions.
Yeah, and to you, Majid, on that sort of same point, on this data side specifically, what do you have to do and what did you have to do to really become data ready and to, I guess, ensure that that trust, that integration, that governance was in place?
I'll be just really frank. You know, Vision 2030 was straight up clear. Most of the governmental bodies that we went to and tried to extract data from, we ended up APIing with them, so linking our own system with theirs. They issue the same thing that you have mentioned. Sometimes you have too much data.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention one thing in regards to data, back to the first question you said. AI is never a replacement of a human, you know what I mean? So, and this is what we've done. We said we want to automate and educate.
Yes.
So we got the best people in the market to join us in the investment banking, segregating the roles from investment banking, corporate finance, into visibility study, into engineering team, into designing team. So each one would know best on their expertise or level of expertise. So the data is integrated. The data would never, I think, or AI will never make decisions, but it will support the experienced team to make quicker decisions.
Yeah. Was it hard to put into practice? I mean, I know that us humans can be fairly resistant sometimes to doing things differently or having to change the way we work.
If I must say, the biggest challenge that we faced in Arib is shifting the team from the manual work into the digital investment bank.
Yeah.
And I think they will be upset because they always have so much to do, especially in this time. If you're like, real estate is booming in Saudi. We study around 50 to 60 opportunities a week. There's so many opportunities, and the team they don't have the vision for the change. But when we came with them, sat with them, showed them how it's a shortcut, it's a huge shortcut, and we are doing it. And I think our competitive advantage that we had is that we had a technology team of ours.
Yeah.
This is a struggle that we had before, where the biggest issue was translating the message or the business requirements from the experienced real estaters to the IT team. So this is something that we struggled with for a lot of time, but we overcome it.
And I imagine as soon as you provide proof points, as soon as you demonstrate the benefit of a solution and that it does make a difference, then people get on board.
I think most of them, they were resistant. Now they are fighting for it, and you can see them smiling here and there.
I mean, I would hate to think there's any resistance left in this room at all. I mean, if there was, there definitely isn't anymore. Because,
not anymore.
You've just totally set them up for that. Amazing. So let's move a little bit and talk about how we transition from, say, a pilot and an idea and something that potentially on paper is maybe good and we practice in little bits to real scale. So, Christian, you know, there are so many prop tech products and they work very much within their demos, and then you put them out into the real world and they kind of grind to a halt or stall. So would you say you've had any challenges or blockers when it comes to adoption and really trying to get that long-term traction?
Yeah, for sure. I think if you build new products, you will always face those challenges. And I think adoption, so changing a habit is very, very difficult. And so you really need to get to the point that it's so valuable that you're going to start doing something differently. And so that shift is taking time, but it starts really accelerating. And I think agentic AI helped us with that now, because in default, humans are lazy. And it's really hard to change something that you're doing every day. Now, with agentic AI, what we did, we just exposed all the data through APIs, through our different agents. And now you don't have to go and click and go to different places. You just move into a conversational layer, and then you have other such tools available now that you're getting used to, and your habit is starting to shift. And I don't want to click anymore. I want to tell this technology what to do. So that was hard until this really moved into that direction. I think the other thing about scaling is it's good to have sandboxes and demos because we learn so much every day. And we had the benefit that we have an AI company, but also a buyer brokerage. So my users, initially, we didn't expose a lot what we're doing externally. We just, like yourself, use internally. And so you get to know what works, what doesn't work, and you learn so much about the intricacies of the data, of the deals, of the situations, and how you need to adjust it. And you need to take that time to learn and adjust before you scale. Because what usually the businesses that fail, and we've seen some of them, they might bring agentic AI and some high-level data. They haven't put the effort into the infrastructure. They launch very quickly. It looks very good for like a day, but then if you go to the detailed data and you want to take an investment decision, you see it's all wrong. It's telling me the different information every time. So it's very important you invest in the foundation. You test and find all of the intricacies. Work with the government, work with the private sector to actually make them aware of it, solve it together, and then scale.
Well, interesting, you mentioned different stakeholder groups there, different sort of partnerships that have to be put in place. Have you found different challenges to adoption and to scale that are unique to some of those stakeholder groups? Are there different ways of approaching problems based on kind of the role they play?
I think we're blessed in the region that the government is driving innovation, and they're very, incentivized and very keen to adopt those technologies. Now, the challenge is in real estate that you have 20, 30 years of data that might have some challenges that you can't just overnight transform or fix, because it's actually title deeds that are ownership of certain people. So you can't fix things overnight sometimes. And so there is really the need of not just the interest to drive innovation, but also the willingness to do the hard work over a period of time together with the industry. And I think the will is here, and there's a lot of positive momentum. We're blessed to be part of MISC Accelerator as well, and that was very, very helpful for us to understand, to get exposed to the market, to get exposed to all of the important stakeholders, and everyone wants to collaborate and make this vision move forward. And I think that's really the positive thing.
I love that theme of collaboration. It's such an important one. Majid, for you, when it came to scaling, was there a specific area of focus that you were like, right, we're just going to tackle this, or we're going to create this partnership, or we're going to go in this direction? And was that something that was very prioritized for you?
Okay, so at the end of the day, we are an investment bank. We never wanted to get involved in technology. That was not the plan.
Oh dear, it's a bit late now.
Yeah, it's too late, I think. But when we started the time, we wanted something that is tailored for us, because we do things differently. And this is what differentiates an investment banker from another. So we go in depth and in studying every single opportunity. We start with legal aspects, validating the title deed, validating the roading, whatever master plan is going to come here, what's the general practice for similar lands in these areas. So when it comes to scalability, I think, and I was talking to you this morning when I got to meet him, and I said, we don't really want to do it if we have the right partner that could scale the game for us, because we want, at the end of the day, to focus on investment banking and make money out of it.
So you're talking about using technology and AI and data to, while you're staying in your lane and being very focused on what it is you do, simply enhance, amplify, enable efficiencies. So you're using it as a tool in that sense.
100%. We believe in specialties.
Yeah.
And once you get off from your specialties, then maybe you lose the road,
Yeah.
I must say. That's why since 2008 and since the establishment, we were Q3 of last year, we were ranked number 10 in the Saudi market in terms of capitals. And we only do one asset class, which is real estate.
Amazing.
And even within the real estate, we only do infrastructure, logistics, and commercial.
Yeah.
So the specialties, we want to keep focus in our main business, which is investment funds, but data was too much. There was a lot of data, and there were a lot of companies coming up, and I think I've met 150 companies that say we can do specialize in the AI.
Yeah.
But when you go on test and so on, the data is not right, if I must say.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So it is back to that integrity and authenticity and credibility of the data that we're
100%.
feeding into our systems.
100%.
So let's move and take a little look at the future then, and the future of technology within specifically the real estate industry. Because there are areas where people are predicting that tech is going to take over, and there are also areas where we absolutely have to ensure that the human remains front and center. So Christian, for you, how do you view that kind of dichotomy?
Yeah, it's incredible how things are moving, and there's a lot of areas that you would have not expected technology to take over, that it's starting to take over, and there's other areas which you thought it would take over, it doesn't. But we work towards a vision. We believe there will be autonomous AI advisors very soon, but it will be like the driving car. Last year we went with Miss to Silicon Valley, and we take, they have a lot of the autonomous driving cars there now in Riyadh as well, and you're first a bit scared, but then you actually go and use it. But the autonomous cars were not built in a year. They were built over 10, 15 years. And I think it will be similar in the real estate industry. So there are certain things you will start being able to automate and make autonomous, some things you've already done. And there's other things that will require to have the human touch. But the way we think about it is we have agentic AI, we call it reactive today. Yeah. So I ask questions and I get answers with our trusted data layer. We're going to move this year towards proactive, meaning the AI is starting to suggest tasks to me based on the data it knows, and it starts doing some of the work I do for me, or for the brokers, or for the developers. It's raising things, and then it will move in some areas to fully autonomous. There's certain low-risk tasks, like monthly reports, reporting, things like that can be automated easily. Off-plan projects is another opportunity where a big part of that can be made autonomous. And why not? Because then we can focus on the things where humans are really the experts in, and that we want the human touch to stay.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, when we talk about the future, it does sort of rely on having a bit of an innovative and forward-thinking mindset and attitude. Do you think there are some areas of innovation that we have yet to unlock when it comes to really thinking about how we benefit from tech in the future of real estate? Do we need to be thinking differently? Do we need to have different attitudes and approaches to really benefit from the tech?
Yeah, I think it's a transition like everything else. Especially adoption, and we need to take people on their hands, and that's a role of private sector and government together. And I think, but I believe that the individuals that adopt, that are open for change, that adopt the new technologies will be the beneficiaries out of it, and the ones that will be too slow or ignore it or not try to adopt it, they will fall behind. So I think it's in everyone's interest to try to learn about it and try to adopt it.
I mean, it's kind of here to stay, right? So I suppose the big difference is what we all choose to do with it and do about it. Is that your perspective too, Majid, when you're looking at kind of real estate sort of capital managers and the next kind of couple of years? What are you seeing in terms of the future?
I think it depends on the master minds and the creativity of those who are utilizing this technology. Yeah. I hear today rubbish in, rubbish out, and I heard somebody said AI is just a baby Einstein. So it depends on who's utilizing the data.
Completely agree.
And who's utilizing these AI tools. If we have those innovative, creative minds, I think we're going to go to the next level.
So what is the next level? Is there another big leap coming? Do you think we're going to have these kind of shifts and then a bit of stagnation and then big shifts? Do you think there's a big leap coming?
I think the shift will happen within 3 years into moving, even operating the buildings, ensuring efficiencies of the building, walks in, walks out. And this is something that we have touched on in a company that we kicked off in London called Boxo. And it's all about how can you be efficient in managing your own buildings.
Yes, amazing. Give us a little sneak preview. Go on, give us a crystal ball gazing prediction. What do you think that's going to look like? What do you think a building in the future will look like when it comes to integrating tech to manage it?
I think it's just like an efficiency. Like the one we have done in Boxo today and with the team in London, is they were utilizing AI to see how much waste each restaurant had from their ingredients.
Amazing.
And how much was the output. So I think, we would not have robotics managing the buildings, but
I was hoping for my own private butler.
I don't think it's going to happen, or it's going to be super slow. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
but I think when it comes to efficiency, I think we will go to the next level.
Amazing. So go on, Christian, you've got something you wanted to add. You're going to paint us a vision of a utopian future.
No, I think there's a lot of positive that it unlocks. So for example, there's a lot of old buildings that require, let's say, renovation or fix and flip. And a lot of the owners will not understand actually the potential. And so we built, for example, fix and flip models and other models where you can immediately model the renovation costs, you understand the returns, what you want to achieve, you get evidence whether this has been transacted in this way or not. So it can also help transform and modernize cities from a sustainability point of view that have been more difficult in the past to convince the owners or attract investors to it. So I think there's lots of interesting things that will come our way. So very excited to be part of this.
Incredible. So go on, let's just finish off by making this super practical and applicable for the people in the room, whether they're in the capital markets, whether they're in the investment market, whether they're in development, whether they're in a prop tech solution provider. We obviously have to create these ecosystems and upskill them to enable responsible adoption of AI, because it's one of those things that could define this generation, couldn't it, in terms of how things get adopted. So if you have a key plea, a message that you want to ask of everyone in this room when it comes to responsible adoption, Majid, what would you say?
I think it must be collaboration, because we have to collaborate amongst the best of the best in whatever they are doing.
Okay.
I could be an investment banker, but when it comes to development, maybe somebody who's focused on the development or on the design is better off an investment banker to make the decision.
Okay.
So I think it has to be collaborated under one system, one area, where everyone is coming and bringing their experience, their know-how into this integrated system.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because the idea of collaboration is so important and so sort of philosophically sound.
Yeah.
But kind of doing that in practice, do you have a vision for what a true collaboration might look like?
Yeah, we kicked off actually. We started 2 months ago by going into the developers and seeing how they do things and how they study their businesses. We went into the contractors, and even on a procurement level, we kicked off a company that is specialized in procurement to determine the right pricing for the purchased goods. Because at the end of the day, it's a life cycle of a product where everyone gets involved. So.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work. I think it will take time.
And I think that's a really valid point, because I think sometimes adoption does take work. Well, usually adoption takes work. It's hard. You have to force yourself out of those existing patterns of work and behavior and out of your comfort zone. So I think it's good to highlight the fact that it takes work, but we have to be committed to that.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you don't want to stop your own business and shifting.
Of course. Christian, do you have a similar viewpoint in terms of responsible adoption and how we make that happen?
Yeah, so I think education is extremely important, and awareness, both on like which apps, data, sources you can trust, but also that a lot of the AI is not going to do your work yet reliably. So always you need to make sure that you still verify yourself the details, so it can automate tasks. And solutions like ours will give you the right data, but there's many out there that don't, or you just go on ChatGPT and you think it actually knows how to give you the right data, but it doesn't. So I think awareness on how to use the tools in the right way is the most important thing.
And it also sounds like choosing your partners wisely in this world of new collaboration is extremely important.
100%. And I think one more thing very concrete that will be beneficial is the direct integration. So especially with new developments, so developers that are open to actually integrate directly with the likes of ourselves, because that's where sometimes there is a gap of transparency, new things. The faster we can drive awareness, it will benefit them, and it will benefit the end users that they actually see what's happening. And I think Saudi actually is taking the lead in some of that. In Dubai, for example, it still takes like 2-3 months to register an off-plan project. So you sign it up, and then until it's in the system and everyone sees it, takes a certain amount of time. The faster you can do that, the better for the entire market. And so those kind of things are very important. Keep on working on the data infrastructure, and make sure you expose it to the multipliers that make sure that the stakeholders can be aware of the correct information.
Well, I'm certainly very excited about what I'm seeing in the kingdom, and I'm very excited to hear about both of your projects and how you're integrating data, AI into the work you're doing. I think it's a really big inspiration for us all to think about those areas where we can do the same. Doing it responsibly, doing it with the right partners, doing it collaboratively is so critically important, doing it ethically. But I think the kingdom is moving definitely in the right direction. And it's wonderful to see both of you at the forefront of leading some of that charge. So thank you so much for being with me. What a fabulous conversation, so insightful. Majid, Christian, please going to have the biggest, warmest round of applause. Thank you. Thank you so much.